Hey, what's up, fam? And welcome back again to Recap Kickback Presents Abbott Elementary, a post show recap here to talk about season 5, episode 9 and 10. We're in the mall for these 2 episodes. It's me, your host, Chappell, and in the mall with me, my co-host, the principal, normally the principal of this podcast, but today, Mr. Johnson as Mr. Johnson as Gia Worthy. I almost called you Dia, and then I was like, Gia.
No. So I read the subtitles of Abbott Elementary, and I believe Dia's name is spelled D-I-A, even though in my head it's spelled D-A-Y-A. I need to look it up because I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it...
You're right. Okay. My issue is that I went to say Gia, I saw the D in Dia, and then forgot that I was going to say Gia and ended up saying Dia. And so...
But yes, no, I am here as Mr. Johnson as Dia for this episode because Dia's on vacation. Mr. Johnson is a very busy man, could not make it onto the podcast, so I'm filling in for both roles this time.
And that's necessary because we have a jam-packed episode here, actually 2 episodes as we do here on Abbott Elementary, a post-show recap, and we are going to be talking about what it looks like when Abbott goes to the mall. Now, Gia, I believe this is our first time podcasting in the new year, right?
Yes, because the mall was the start of the new year. The last time we recorded we had 2 episodes right before Christmas that we weren't able to, and then we had that long break, but we are back now.
Yes, Happy New Year to all of our Abbott Elementary fans that are tuning in to hear us talk about this episode. And there's some Abbott stuff to talk about, but I really want to talk about the mall today because I just feel like in 2026, people have forgotten what the mall used to be. I feel like this episode was a very good reminder of how far we've fallen, as a country, as a society, as a nation, where malls aren't getting the respect they deserve.
We used to be a culture. We used to be a proper society. And I feel like the downfall of malls has really pointed to the downfall of everything else in our lives at this point, because malls used to be so important, right?
Sure.
And now they're empty lots for Abbott Elementary students to run around in.
Yes. And we will talk about all of that and more. But first, thank you all for listening to the podcast. Hopefully you have subscribed at this point. If you haven't, what are you waiting on? recapkickback.com/subscribe to start to, get all of our podcast feeds going straight to your phone and your devices. Or you can go to youtube.com/@recapkickback so you can see G and I's beautiful faces. Sometimes I do graphics and stuff like that. That's really cool. This time I'm not doing no graphic today because we're just going to talk about the mall in these 2 episodes of Abbott. And Gia, we talked about this last episode. The idea that Abbott is going to a mall sounds absurd, but it's not unheard of. There are actual schools that have been placed in malls before. Now, I don't know if they've ever been put in an abandoned mall that the teachers were forced to clean up and do on their own. But as Gregory said in this episode, anything can happen in the Philly school system. And so here we are.
I'm not questioning the process of how they got there. This all makes complete sense. But this is not just an empty mall. This is an abandoned mall. People left clothes there. They left the footstools from Foot Locker. They have some of the infrastructure still in there, depending on what store it is. Ava's ears started burning, so she knew she was in a Claire's. I loved that joke. For anybody that has been in a Claire's before, you know the drill. And I could feel that nostalgia starting to pick up. I'm shocked they didn't reference a Build-A-Bear, or they did mention Sears in the 2nd episode. So, there was a lot to go through in there.
And I found a Reddit thread that says it's titled from 4 years ago. It's titled "Repurposing Abandoned Malls as High Schools." I found out from a friend in Vermont that Burlington High School temporarily moved into an abandoned Macy's. It sounded crazy, dystopian, and then as I thought about it more, kind of cool repurposing of a space, especially with the current plight of the U.S. mall in so many places. And then I started looking at it, and it appears others have tried it too. So apparently, this is a thing. When some schools are, forced to go into those malls or whatever empty spaces there are whenever a school is needing a lot of work done on it, right? And so like Abbott, we know that school is falling apart and always is. It's constantly falling apart. And so it's not completely unheard of. This story is not like just something they made up. It happens. And of course it happened to these people while on their winter break. Ava has to ask everybody to come in, and the school district is going to give them nothing. Absolutely nothing. They said, we don't know how long this is going to last, but at the least we can do is deliver the lunches to the kids. But you have to go spend 12 hours a day to make this mall workable for these students. Good luck and goodbye.
I was with Janice in this moment, because if you told me I had to move desks and chairs, like you didn't even set it up over break, like you don't have a team to actually bring, you brought everything that a school needs and just set it in a pile in the middle of the mall where I assume there was once like a fountain, like that would have been it. I am 30 years old. I feel like that is too old to be moving desks around.
Yeah, y'all playing games. And this is, we work in education. Sometimes teachers just have to make do. They just do. And this is one of those occasions where it's like, you need your job. Everybody does not have the luxury that Janice has where she could just peace out and quit. But oh my God, the urge to do it is so strong sometimes.
I felt that in that moment. I'm also just like, oh my God, like she actually did it. She did what I threatened to do so many times in my life. Like, especially, not exactly the same, but I did work in a mall as a waitress. The amount of times I threatened to quit. The amount of times. I'm like, oh, she actually did it. That wasn't even, I miss Janice already. I miss her already.
We got her for one brief moment, but she made such an impact.
What a diva.
You rarely see teachers quit their jobs in the middle of school day. Just that's not a thing often, because they have other things going on there on contract, whatever the case may be. This wasn't exactly in the middle of school day, but the idea that you can just peace out and leave a job that you don't like, that's very mall. Because mall jobs traditionally suck. Right? You're there working at the store, hoping that someone shows up. The management is probably some younger adult who's just lording over whatever teenager or super young adult that they have at their disposal. And so malls were such an important part of like my youth when I was growing up, but I never wanted to work at the mall. The mall for me was just like where me and my friends made laps sometimes, where we got our steps in. We walk around, we look around, we talk, we vibe, we dress up a little bit, put on some clothes, be seen, and then you leave. For the poor souls who have to actually work there, God bless them.
Yeah, the idea of working at a mall when you're a teenager sounds kind of cool in that you're making money, you get discounts at whichever one you're working at. You might see some of your friends might be able to stop in depending on what mall you're at or where you're working at. But customer service jobs already are rough. But like a mall is a whole different animal because just like anybody can go in there. And what I mean by that is that like people really do treat it as like an alternative playground / babysitting section / daycare / like general nuisance to the public. It's like a park, but indoors because like sometimes it's too cold to be outside like that. So yeah, the mall's a whole different beast. And in some ways it was like this really, you never think of it as like this, like a social environment that is such a relic now, but that's really what it is. And I think this episode did a great job of expanding on that, especially getting the little quips from Melissa about like the times where she and her gal pals used to run the mall back in the day. I could totally see her. She was definitely a mall rat. Like this fits with her character.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I remember getting dropped off at the mall when I was a smaller kid. And then when I got to high school, I would catch the city bus to the mall. And then me and my friends would just meet up at the mall. And like you said, basically a playground. We do some laps, we get some food every now and then. Most of the time we didn't have a lot of money, so we weren't really shopping. But the people at the mall just had to deal with us existing. They're like, hey, can we help you? No, you can't help me. And you can't help me because I'm here every day. I'm here every chance I get. I'm not buying anything. And you're on the lookout for shoplifters. in the 90s, I definitely passed for one. And so I was getting looked at a lot, I was stressing these people out just by being at the mall, but it was just such a cultural touchstone. It was just a place where you had to exist in that space. And so these Abbott kids, they just won't ever appreciate that, for not only is this an abandoned mall, but we don't mall like we used to.
No, it was a whole culture. It was a moment. It's like the roller rinks of.
Yes.
I know it wasn't like the 80s. I feel like that's accurate. Yeah. I was going to say the 50s. I'm like, that's definitely wrong. But
I think they had roller rinks then too, maybe.
Yeah, but I think they had like the milkshake shops where servers would be on. That feels 50s. It's like that general area between 1950s and 1980s. I feel like is appropriate.
Yeah, the skating rinks, I think they've kind of declined as well, just as like a place where the kids just go and hang. But the mall was definitely the place to be. They talked about other options where they could have had this school. I believe they said empty community college campus, for-profit prisons, open air train stations that may or may not be haunted. But this was the best that Ava could do at such a short notice.
I gotta be honest. I think they should have looked into the former prison maybe a little bit, but like it's indoor. Like the thing with the train station is the open air part, right? Like not in Philly in January, which is when I assume they're all back in school at this point. Like that doesn't work. But like the prisons are indoors. You do have a lot that you have like a yard that they can stroll around in. So that covers that problem. And like you kind of have some designated meeting spots already.
Classrooms built in.
I think,
no,
if you time out, you just go to a cell.
Go in there. No,
that might cause some problems in the future, like psychologically. But I think they didn't give I feel like logistically, if I'm thinking about what type of building would be best used in a situation like this for little kids, like other than the ethical problems of the prison industrial complex.
Yes.
Kind of like it's got a lot of space to roam around in there.
Functionality, sure. But if you think these parents were mad about their kids being at a mall, imagine the uproar of all these inner city kids getting shipped off to an abandoned prison or
it was a former prison. This was not a prison anymore.
It's just a building. So,
it's basically a building with barbed wire.
Right. I'm sure they left it up. You wouldn't have to worry about so much truancy if you get barbed wire. I don't know. Look, I once attended a school that had a barbed wire fence. That's all I will say about that. Shout out to my old middle school. But,
it's all making sense. I'm trying to think of what was my moment? I don't know. Our playground was a parking lot. Like it absolutely was just a parking lot. Like didn't even paint like a soccer field or something on there. Like nope.
Just a few kickball lines. That's all you need.
I really feel like, and I went to Catholic school when I was really young. They could have definitely afforded like some grass in there, like with what they were paying for tuition. Where was that money going?
Good question. So Dom suggests Zoom. Why don't we just do this virtually? And he is met with boo hiss.
Love this.
He wasn't there with us. He doesn't remember the Zoom days. He was in school when that happened, so he does not understand how that shook teachers of the world.
He was in. I think if I'm doing the math correctly, Dom is probably in. Like, assuming he is going right from his getting his degree to being a teacher, like there's no in between time in there. Dom, assuming he got like a master's or something like that, like for this degree, like maybe like a freshman or sophomore in college during the pandemic. I feel like he's probably thinking of this as more like some time off, like where teachers are like being a little more relaxed about assignments, because that's definitely how I thought about it, like my first 2 weeks into COVID time. And then it just kept happening. I'm like, oh no, this is forever. This is never changing. This is the new situation we have upon us. So but like from the teacher's perspective, this was hell. Just never again, never doing any type of Zoom content again for as long as I live.
There are many professions that could go back to Zoom and nothing would change. In fact, that life will be better if they did. Teaching is not one of those things.
No.
It was not the students that these teachers serve. They're not built for it. Their families aren't built for it. It would take a lot of kind of just like it would take a lot of adjustments over a long period of time to get people kind of indoctrinated into that life. Like, it's just not something you can just spring on people, right? Like, you have to start working it in, like start with one class and then start with 2 classes maybe over there. You gotta ease into that kind of thing for this population of kids. It's just not something that's realistic. But he's a baby, and he's gonna keep reminding them, because he does tell them that in '96 he wasn't even born. So
I hated them for that, honestly. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Tom.
Right. Nobody, that's not cute. Stop saying that.
No.
So, as you pointed out, Melissa is reliving her days as a double D, running the mall. And her and Jacob are having a little bit of a disconnect. He mentions that he was a juggalo, and she doesn't know what that means. Gia, I have no clue what a juggalo is.
You don't know what a juggalo is?
No,
okay.
No,
so
nothing.
I've never been a juggalo, but I love cults. So, you know,
wait, hold on, pause.
I don't know. Wait. So I have not been in a cult. I don't love cults, and like I think we should have more of them before anybody.
I'm enjoying them.
Listen, I'm not joining them, but I am nosy. So you can see how like that's my area of like true crime interest. Some people like serial killers. I want to learn about a cult, you know? Okay. So so I'm kind of paraphrasing here because, you know, kind of like on the lower scale of like fandom, you know. So there's this like heavy metal group, I believe is what they're called, Insane Clown Posse, and they're fans,
like the Crumpers.
Yeah. So
okay,
juggalos are fans of the Insane Clown Posse. So that's like their fandom name, because you get it like juggling clowns.
Oh,
yes. So
y'all watched me have that revelation on the podcast. Yep.
So like Insane Clown Posse for people, and then if you look up juggalo, they're fans of the hip. I guess it's hip hop group. I'm gonna ignore that. For I'm ignoring that tidbit. And Psychopathic Records, the label that they are signed to, the term originated in 1994. So juggalos are easy to identify because they go to the concerts like in clown makeup.
Oh, okay.
So that is, and you know, like wear them outside of the concerts too. So that's the juggalo term for it. So Jacob, it's very Hot Topic adjacent. So it makes sense that Jacob would have some flashbacks in there, but I totally buy the idea that he had a juggalo phase.
Okay, yeah, I had no clue this existed. I'm pulling it up for anybody watching on YouTube, which is another endorsement for why you should watch on YouTube. Here is a picture. Now I can picture Jacob maybe in the clown makeup. Okay, I can see it.
This is like a very tame makeup of juggalo fandom. Like,
I love that you say tame, because look at this monster and this is that a bucket hat? This beige hat? Like, there's nothing tame about that makeup.
I'm saying, like, in terms of that, looks like that person has like a full mask on, but like when we think of juggalos, people are probably thinking more like this in terms of like the
painted
like the
faces is what we're looking for. Right, right. Okay.
Like it's very easy to identify if you know what a juggalo is, and like in terms of like concerts and stuff like that, like they're very easy to identify.
So they were hanging out at Hot Topic. They probably had baggy pants on.
Yeah, I don't know if the Juggalo craze necessarily overlaps with the Hot Topic craze, but they have that same gothic theme to it. Before Hot
Gotcha.
Topic became more of like a fandom anime store that it is now. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. So
Yeah.
Jacob and Melissa are both kind of reliving their old days as like what they used to get into when they were at the mall. But some of the teachers are not taking this well. Like, most of them are like, okay, we just gotta push through. Janine has decided, no, I'm gonna sunshine and rainbows this thing like I always do, and I'm going to prove to y'all that we could just make this place like Abbott Elementary. If the kids are going to be stuck here, we're going to bring the Abbott to them. She's like thinking about printing out pictures of her windows and things of that nature to make the kids feel more at home. But people feel at home at a mall. It's not a school. It's a mall, and they really underestimate what it means to be in a mall. Everything is far. Like we talked about this when we talked about last episode when we were speculating. We're like, unless you're going to block off half of it, how are you going to keep the kids confined to a specific area? Like most malls in my experience, have been like gigantic, and you could get lost in a mall when it's not abandoned. Imagine what you're doing with 100, 200 kids in a mall that is abandoned.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about like the setup of a mall, right? Like you're lucky if you have, this looks like a 2, maybe 3-story mall, right? Like you're lucky if you get a bathroom on like every floor. They're not built the same way that schools are built, where they're actually designing it with children in mind, right? So like we get into issues of the bathrooms. We have the issue of like teachers having space for themselves versus where they have students eating lunch. They have, people are they spend like 12 hours every day just moving stuff and setting up their classrooms and like picking like where they're going to be for the day, that they're not even thinking about the logistics of everything else that is going to be different. Like they're spending all this time just like giving themselves a fighting chance for like sanitation wise. And like all the other logistics they're finding out as they go through, as along the way of like, oh, this is something we didn't even have time to really think about. Or why would we think that like this would be a problem? Like the idea that the toilets are not tall enough or they are too tall for the children in the youngest grades. And there's not kid-friendly bathrooms in there the same way that they would design that bathroom specifically for the kindergarten class. So a lot of things, obviously when we went into this, we knew some of the ideas that were going to happen. The idea of a student throwing a mannequin across the balcony, shout out to Andrew, absolutely something that would happen. Like that is my intrusive thoughts happening like in real time right there. Like what if I just throw something off the balcony of a mall? Like he was living my dream in there.
It's an idea that you have in your head that sounds cooler than it does in practice, right? So people are saying like, oh yeah, a mall, this will be great. The kids will love it. And then when the kids enter, you see the like reality of the situation. Because one, they don't even have a designated entrance for all of them. This abandoned mall is just unlocked on all sides. And so these kids come flooding in. It looks like a scene from one of those Nickelodeon shows. Like the kids took over the school or something like that,
like Children of the Corn.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They're flying in from every side. And like I said, most of these kids probably don't be in the mall like that either. And so because the mall is just not a place where people just go and hang like they used to. So they're in there wilding out. And now the teachers just have to establish order. And I think the show does a really good job of focusing on Dom as a first-time teacher here, because we saw Gregory and Janine's, kind of cutting their teeth at Abbott, the struggles they had during their first year, but they weren't doing it in a mall. Dom is doing all of this, dealing with all the struggles that these teachers have in inner city schools, but while having to relocate all his kids to a mall and then get them to behave and then get them to learn and all that kind of stuff still. And it's just not realistic, right? Like this is awful. He wants to quit so bad, but this is first year. And luckily for him, he has Gregory to kind of give him motivation and keep him from basically just walking out, because I think nobody would blame anybody for leaving this job at this point.
Yeah. And I think it's also thinking about, like, I loved Dom in this episode. We will talk about the lesson he gets from this at the end, which was my favorite part of this whole episode. But just the idea of, like, he's adjusting to these things, but also he's going through, like, this unprecedented time at Abbott Elementary. The school district is not giving them an actual timeline of when they can expect to be back in the school. He's just trying to manage the classroom that he has at this point. And, like, they can't keep track of all these kids in this huge building. Like, the fact that they are able to get any of the kids in their classroom is a miracle in and of itself. But, like, these kids all are all thinking about it as fake school, and you kind of can't blame them, because how much learning are they actually doing at this point when there's so many distractions around them?
They don't even have whiteboards, you know, so it's kind of, this is fake school. The kids are right. This is fake school. But the teachers have to make sure that it is accomplishing whatever goal they have. And so, like I said, Gregory is there to kind of like make sure that Dom doesn't just leave and kind of succumb to, you know, the pressures of what it looks like to try to teach in this situation. I like Gregory in this role, Gia, because he's kind of stepping into that Barbara role. I don't know if you could think back far enough to when we were little babies talking about season 1, but you remember when, like, maybe Gregory's having trouble keeping his class in order, or Janine's having trouble keeping their class in order, and Barbara just walks in and all the kids get quiet. Gregory's doing that. He's like, you got to be stern with them. Hey, everybody calm down. And everybody, they stop talking. I was like, yes, Gregory, he's seasoned now. This is good.
He's learning. He's like the veteran teacher now. This was before Gregory didn't even want to believe he was a teacher. This was his placeholder. This was his to get him by until he could get the job that he really wanted. And now he's in love. He's fully committed. He's in the zone, in the role, and the students respect him. So they are a little scared when he gets his big boy voice, essentially. Like, he has a little bass in his voice at this point, and it's good. It's good evolution of Gregory as a character. I think it's amazing to have this character still be here as a teacher, having like a Black man be at the front and center of an education-based show like Abbott Elementary. I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, not enough Janine and Gregory scenes, obviously, because everyone's panicking right now, but I'll take what I can get.
And let's talk about why everyone's panicking, because the students are in disarray. They are looking for their classes. They can't find them. Everything's far away. The restroom, of course, is an issue because it's a mall. People have trouble finding the restroom. Grown-ass people have trouble finding the restroom in a mall. And now you want little kids to walk down dark hallways and go to, and like in a mall to go use restrooms that they're not even tall enough to use. So that's a distraction, but it really starts to hit the fan when it's time for lunch, because they have delivered the Abbott meals to the mall, and the meals didn't hold up in transit. So this is when the kids lose it. They basically start a riot.
Give these kids pizza and call it a day.
Give them pizza. Dear God, sandwiches. I mean, sack lunch these kids and move on.
I still don't know what I was looking at when we have their food there. Like, what were they trying to feed them? It looked like something in the food competitions on Survivor. I'm pretty sure I saw a sea cucumber at one point in there.
Some balut, I thought the same thing. I was like, where did they cook this? Because they didn't cook it at Abbott.
It doesn't look cooked at all. Looks like they just hoped it would, like, it was a frozen meal they hoped would melt on the way over there.
Y'all supposed to spring for the pizza at this point. Look, as a teacher, I've paid for plenty of pizzas, and in certain places you can get them for like donated to you if you have your tax card or whatever. Like Little Caesars, the manager used to work at, like, her daughter graduated from the school I used to work at, and so when we would go to her, we were like, hey, we need some of these hot and readies. She'd be like, okay, I'll give them to you for like 10 cents on the dollar. Like, we would just walk out with like a bunch of them, and they just use it as a tax write-off.
At that point, the district just like order some party-sized pizzas and make do with it over there. Like, the kids are not going to complain about pizza days.
No, that pizza is the key to soothing the savage beast. When the kids are out of control, nothing speaks kid more than pizza. It's just it's scientific. I can't look. I'm not a doctor. But I know that this is something that like you could WebMD me right now. So the kid's right. Fake school, fake school, fake school. Barbara has to step into her Barbara role and really shut this down because Ava has opted out. She's doing her own thing. She's looking for where to put her office.
She's busy. She is trying to find the perfect spot, and I can understand. The Santa's Village idea was genius, by the way. Like, fantastic all around. I'm sad she could not keep it. However, O'Shawn's little cameo about wanting to live in a circuit city was also genius. What a nerd. What a loser.
All the mall name drops that they did of like the old stores. I think at one point Melissa said a Sam Goody. I was like, how long has this mall been abandoned? like a Sam Goody? Dear God.
The JC Penney's, the Sears.
Right. Like some of these stores still exist, but Sam Goody been gone since like 99. You know? So yeah, we're in a tight spot here. And Ava just is like, I'm not doing this. I have other things going on. She finds a bunch of clothes, a bunch of designer clothes. So she's like, I'm gonna sell that. You know her, she's gonna make her money. But they have to make the best of what they have in front of them. Barb says they were presented with an L and an MNOP, and they just have to hold it. So Janine has to realize this is not Abbott. She can't force it to be Abbott. They can't go lunching in the teacher's lounge or like in like random lounge areas. They have to lunch out in the open where they can watch the kids. Ava needs to move her office to the front because she's in charge and needs to be by the entrance. And Dom needs to suck it up. He cannot just be in here pouting because work has to be done. And Morton needs to wear deodorant even though he's not there. Jacob's been doing this. He says natural deodorant. Look, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. And I'm not here to judge.
That's what we're here for, actually.
Okay, sure. I'm here to judge.
We can judge.
Look, y'all. It's okay. It's okay. Y'all not gonna die. Sprinkle little chemicals on your armpits. It'll be okay.
Just buy secret baby powder, scented deodorant, secret clinical strength.
Clinical strength.
Or what was the other? Old Spice. You know, like those. That's a popular brand. Like, just do. What's that? What's the green one? You know what I'm talking about. It's
oh,
like
the Degree?
Not Degree.
Ban?
It's like the what?
Ban?
No, it's like like the kind it's like quintessential like middle-aged man smell.
But Mitchum? The fact that I have to name like 18 deodorants off the top of my head is crazy. The fact that I can name them means I've just spent a lot of time in the grocery store.
I do see Mitchum in here. Hold on. Let me
Mitchum, Degree, and Ban are the big three. What do you mean?
That is truly though. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, maybe I'm thinking soap. Hold on.
I mean, look, that might be Ivory Springs or whatever. Irish Springs.
Irish Springs, that's it.
I don't know if Irish Springs makes deodorant. I don't know if
I wonder, hold on, let's see. Irish Springs.
I'm sure they do, right? Because why would you not? Like if you make everything else. Or Speed Stick.
Okay, Speed Stick. Okay, Irish Springs does have deodorant, but their big thing is soap. And I think most of what I'm seeing here is Speed Stick. So yes, okay. But yeah, Irish Spring was definitely the brand I was initially talking about. But yeah, put a little Speed Stick on, some Mitchum, some Old Spice, something secret clinical strength. You know, it's okay to have a little natural musk in there, but like on your own time. And I was kind of funny. Morton caught a stray, and he's not even there to be there. Then it was Jacob's stray instead.
And good on Morton. You don't have to deal with this. You don't have to deal with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry. They're putting you through. Use your vacation days. We'll talk about that in just a second. The teachers end up landing on solution. They're gonna rotate for the kids, right? So the kids are not gonna walk the halls. They're gonna walk the halls. Janine's getting stools for the tiny kids so they can use the restroom, and Dom decides not to quit. Instead, he holds the claw machine hostage because it doesn't look like the kids are getting recess at this time. So I'm sure they found the claw machine. They're playing with it at every turn, and he's basically saying, "I'll throw it off the top of the mall if y'all don't act like y'all got some sense." And that's keeping the kids in line. So good on all of them.
Yeah, this was my favorite part of the episode. It's just sometimes you have to extort something they love to get what you love out of the situation, and that being kids staying in their seats. Because I know this is a show. I know these are actors, right?
Right. Kind of.
That little girl kicking the trash can with the laptop on top of it. I was angry for him. Like,
right.
I was irate. I was just like, who raised you, little girl? And I know she was just a very good actress. However, that was my final straw. Like, Dom wants to threaten the kids a little bit with their precious claw machine. Then, you know what? This is what he needs.
I really like this from Dom. We talked about this when we talked about season 1. As an educator, I'm much closer to Gregory than I am Janine, but I'm more like Dom. I think we finally found the person who kind of really encapsulates the way I am, because I'm a fun guy, but don't test me. You know, like Gregory is very stoic. He doesn't give a lot of whimsy. No, I can do that. I can do that for sure. But when it comes to like the discipline part, you got to be stern, because you have to set an expectation. These people cannot know that they can run over you. You're not their friend. You're their teacher. You're their supervisor. You're their like babysitter essentially for the day. And so they need not try you, especially in situations like this where it's very dangerous. Like, you know, we haven't really talked about what it looks like as far as like safety reasons why these kids shouldn't be in the mall, but they're running up and down escalators that don't work. You know, you got to keep them in line to protect yourself.
Gregory went through Dom's classroom, which was just a broken window. Like, this is not a safe environment for kids for so many reasons.
Right. So act like you got some sense. We do get one we do get the glimpse of Daya. We have to talk about it because you know Daya's been on my suspect list for a long time from who was ratting us out to the district, but we seemingly aren't going to acknowledge that. But here, I thought it might come out because she says, "I'm not sitting in that Santa's little helper chair." Ava tells her, "Yes, you are." And Daya says, "I quit." And then realizes that she can't afford to quit, but she's going to take her vacation days instead. And that is so real. Just knowing that, like, I have limits, but I can't afford to have limits.
Ava taking the elf hat for her shoes like this, like,
come on, Daya.
The most serious face. I have a theory from this, right?
Yes.
I think Ava knows at this point that it was Daya.
Yeah.
And she's like psychologically punishing her. Like, not that Ava was a great boss to Daya before everything happened last season, but I think she has an inkling in there, because you would think after she was rehired back into that position that she would be like a little more careful with how she treats the employees closest to her, especially one that said straight to her face that she was building her case against her. And I think Ava knows more than she's letting on, more than she's let us on, even though we're family, Ava. So, like, why aren't you telling us? But I find it weird that we've never gotten payoff for that. Like, somebody told the district that we're just supposed to believe at this point that it's Crystal. I don't buy it. I don't we never got any type of resolution there. I think Ava knows that it was likely Daya that snitched on her to the district and got her fired. But obviously Ava, you know, she's back in the position she wants. You just got to make it a little harder for Daya.
So Mr. Johnson will be filling in the role of Daya for the remainder of these 2 episodes. What do you think about Mr. Johnson? Yeah, of course. Nothing less than perfect from him. With little material, you know, he's like, I don't really know Daya like that, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. So that was one of the random comedic things that Abbott does so well, is just like use Mr. Johnson to just be just like some comedic relief throughout. He's not he doesn't have to be in every scene, but when he pops up, he steals the show.
You just know that it's gonna be a great moment, you know? His little hair flip at one point, he was like, "What? I'm just playing with my hair. What do you want?" Like Daya? Is she in the room?
Right.
Yes. The fact that Ava will only address him as Daya for the time being, like, and Mr. Johnson doesn't seem to have an issue with it. I'm enjoying it, especially since Janine took his fort building material away.
The kids needed to use the restroom, Mr. Johnson. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this.
I think I kind of wanted to see what the result of this fort would be. Like, if this is something he's also working on for the entirety of the mall arc that we have, I would have liked to see it, personally.
I'm glad these 2 episodes are obviously they're back to back, but I'm glad we got to talk about them as a pair, because had I watched episode 1, we would have ended the podcast going, so where are the parents? Why hasn't anybody complained? We haven't heard any, like, there's no feedback, so the parents are just okay with this. No, we go into episode 2 about the parents' questions and concerns, and they have a lot of them, as they should. Who chose this school? Where's the breakfast program? What's the bus schedule? How will this affect testing? Why haven't the ghosts been busted? You know, so many questions that need answers. And unfortunately for literally everybody, there are no answers. Sometimes as a teacher, you just deal with what's in front of you, and there is no answer. The district said you had to do this, and so you have to do this. We saw that with the Zoom schools. Yes, we know you don't have the technology at home. Yes, we know you don't have Wi-Fi at home. Yes, we know you have to work. No, yes, we know you can't stay at home with your kids all day. We still got to do this. And so we don't have any answers. We don't know when it's going to end. We don't know when COVID's going to go away. We don't know who's going to be back in the classroom. That's sometimes just the reality, and you're just going to get yelled at. And that's life as a teacher.
I felt this so hard, Chappell. Like, this whole, I was getting war flashbacks. Did I tell you about my year in academia, our first semester of the pandemic?
No, I would love to know.
Okay, so just a little, I won't make it a long story for anybody listening that's rolling their eyes right now, right? But when COVID first started happening, and then we realized that this was going to be longer than just a couple of weeks, right? Because I was in grad school at this time, and I was working at the office that oversaw our college's commencement ceremonies, right? And my job at that time was, I'd been doing it for a year at that point, was to, part of what I did as like the assistant for this job was to answer all of the emails in the inbox about this event, because like there were some that were just like, what's the date? Where do you park? Things like that. And it just kills a little bit of time. When I tell you, once we being the college, announced that they were going to have online commencement this year, and that grading was getting pushed back and all this other stuff, me in my role, I'm like, well, that sucks, but this is part of, this is kind of what we expected at this point. Everybody else was doing virtual graduations or events at that point, so we knew this was going to be a possibility of happening. The amount of emails I got, as if I personally caused the pandemic, and then just so we could have a virtual graduation. And people asking, well, is there a chance it would get reversed? What can I get my child's grades? I'm like, no, I don't have that kind of power. Like, I'm just the intern, ma'am. Who are you talking to? I can't believe you would do a virtual graduation. I can't believe, like, this is despicable. What are we going to do about X, Y, and all this other stuff? I'm like, oh my God, I hate all of you. I've never had so much disdain for all of their families. If I had access to the grades, I'd be failing your kids expeditiously for the way you talk to me. So it was quite a road. So getting into here, where it's very similar, we don't know where there's an end in sight. It's not an ideal situation. We're making do with what we have at the moment. It was very COVID-19-esque at that time. This was very similar with the amount of questions. And I understand wanting to know about the situation that you are putting your children in at that point, right? I get that. Some of these questions were a little ridiculous to me. Like, parents, lower your voices.
Right. Please stop yelling.
Not in that tone, please.
That it's something of, I mean, I get it. You're angry. You want answers. You're protective of your kid, but yelling at me ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grunt. I'm here. I'm a soldier. I just do the work that they tell me to do, ma'am. I don't make no decisions here. You think I chose this mall? Like, really? Are you serious? You think I wouldn't rather be at the school that is so comfortable that I've decorated my desk at, than to be doing all of this? But they're besides themselves, honestly. And you should be, right? Your child is wandering around the mall all day and you're calling it school. So Tariq shows up because he wants to schedule a PTA meeting with Ava. And Ava has basically been hiding from everybody. The teacher spent a lot of time talking to the parents every day, trying to answer their questions. But if Ava would just speak up and be the person that they could take their anger out on, Janine and Gregory could get back to teaching. But Janine and Gregory are like, no, we can do this. We don't need Ava. We'll just go ahead and have these conversations ourselves. That doesn't go over well because ultimately these parents just want to yell, and they want to yell at Ava specifically. They're at like, let me talk to a manager mode right now.
Mm-hmm.
And although Ava has no answers for them, she has nothing that she can do. Even AI Ava is not able to like give them what they need. They want their pound of flesh and they want her to kind of take the bullets here. And so she has to come out and do just that before they're okay. I mean, the only good suggestion that they got, and I don't even say a good suggestion, is that Tariq suggests that Gregory pull a Tyler Perry and put a Medea outfit and pretend to be Ava. But aside from that, Ava was going to get yelled at whether she liked it or not.
Yeah. Yep. And Tariq explains it perfectly when they have the initial meeting. He's like, we don't want to discuss. We want to yell. Or he said something to like that. That was it. They don't really want answers at this point. They want to yell at someone for the situation that their children are in, even if that person is not the person responsible for this situation, right? Like Ava didn't drop them in a mall because she felt like it. She did that because that was their only option. They're the best option. And again, I think these parents would also have an issue with the prison idea that I suggested. You know, I still maybe put the parents in like in that environment to like cool down for a little bit, just for like 5 minutes everybody. Or something. Let them run around the yard for a tad. But I will say though, one of the best lines to come out of this right off the gate was, "My son said there were ghosts. Why haven't you busted them?" Genuine Facts. Question. Yeah.
Facts. Why do you have my child here if there are ghosts here? Answer the question. You know, in the past, I've definitely dealt with irate parents before, or you know, people who they're emotional and they are upset, and probably rightfully so. But sometimes you just have to ask people point blank, do you want to yell at me or do you want me to help you? Because sometimes the yelling is like intruding on like what I could actually be doing for you, right? Like if you want to sit here and yell at me, that's fine. Like we can take that, but there are solutions to your problem sometimes. And if you stop yelling, we could get to those. But sometimes people just want to get hurt. You know, I think in this situation, there are no solutions and they just want to yell, but at least they were clear about it. They never gave any indication that that's not what they wanted. They weren't saying, okay, we want our kids back in that Abbott school now. Like I want it like in there at the end of the day or else, you know, they were saying like, yeah, we know y'all can't do anything, but we're upset. And so now you have to hear it. Luckily, Ava is good at taking the bullet. She does a good job.
Yes, I think this is not how I like to see my girl Ava, but she did do a good job in this role of being the straw man, the fall guy, yeah. Being the fall guy. I hated it for her though, because she does not deserve that. And I will say that, like, you know, it was a good episode. It does emphasize part of it. I agree that kind of like our question going into this next episode are like, well, what are the parents? The parents just dropped them off at an abandoned mall and didn't have questions. Like, and so they are bringing up these points, but also like, I think a lot of this energy would be good putting it towards the people that could actually get answers, which would be the district. But the parents don't really want to hear that right now. They want to yell.
The district has roadblocks. You know, you can't get to the district. You could just drive up to the mall and get to Ava, but the district is going to have like, oh, you got to wait in line, you got to get on a list, you got to do all this other stuff. All you're going to do if you go to the district is yell at the person at the front desk. You know, and so this way there is no person at the front desk. Daya is on vacation and Mr. Johnson is cleaning, and so Ava is the person who is going to have to field most of these questions. Now, there's a little bit more going on in the background of this story because Ava does step up in the way that Ava typically does, where she uses her own money or her own resources to bring these kids what they need. And this time it's the whiteboard. She's selling a lot of that designer clothes that she found in the mall, and she made a bunch of money and she was able to deliver it. So once again, Ava saves the day.
which we knew was going to happen, but it's still good to say it from time to time.
Right. Ava definitely wanted to slap somebody.
As she should. I think she should have gotten one free slap out of that.
I mean, if you're going to yell at me, at least let me, get my lick in.
At least let me fight back. Like,
I mean,
let me tussle.
Fair. Yeah. Right. Like, just don't like bully me. Like, let's go if you real about it.
Technically, we are not on school grounds,
And listen, and mall fights used to be a thing. I can tell some stories.
Malls were you know what? I'm so glad you brought this up because malls were the best place for fights. Okay,
a battleground.
Like, nothing pissed me off more than a movie theater fight because that's the same as fighting at an airport. Like there are rules. Okay, we are in a society. We are in a movie theater. Okay, like
act like you got
that is not. The lighting is bad. You are supposed to be quiet. Like there are lines and snacks and all that. Everything's already overpriced. So like, don't fight in the movie theater. If you want to fight in a public place, do it at a mall. Yep. Right? It is open range setting. You have more space. There are props you can use. It's like, and no one's expecting you to be quiet in a mall. It's a mall. So that's where you should have your tussles.
Do you remember, and this is going to sound awful, but do you remember the good old days when Black Friday was actually on a Friday and you had to go to a mall? And it
wasn't a whole weekend. It was like just that Friday.
You had to go to a mall and a store, and you had to risk your life for that television that you were going to get. People died. And we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about like the odds that like you are going to get this one toy that you need to get for this one child, but there's another parent who's been doing this all day and she too is really ready to risk it all. And somebody might just steal off on you. Somebody might just punch you in the mall. It's going to go down.
I really think, I don't know. I feel like if Black Friday's gotten a little soft, right?
It's very soft. Very
soft. Like, if you really want that discounted TV or that Tickle Me Elmo doll or like whatever the newest craze is at the time, I think you should have to fight for it. I really don't I don't think it should just be that you waltz in the mall like the day after Thanksgiving and still have some tryptophan in your system and then you get to gracefully take it off. Like, no, I want to know that you fought for that.
Yeah, I'm a sneakerhead.
Yeah.
I done seen some things at malls, okay? Oh, yes. Back in my day.
The sneaker culture is really like that last crumb of like true consumerism culture in the United States of like, I was there. I was in this line, in these streets.
Yeah. Everything's online now. You can get in the queue.
I hate that.
It's not the same.
You have to wait in person.
I am not even exaggerating when I say I have been in a situation where my life was in danger to get sneakers. And it wasn't that I did anything weird. I was just in a neighborhood where all the people were willing to do some weird shit for some tennis shoes. And I was like, hopefully it ain't me they come after because I'm going to stand here. My mom dropped me off. So I'm going to be at this mall until I get them shoes. It might be 4 a.m, but I'll be here and when that Foot Locker opens up and hopefully I can grab my things and go. Okay. Before it gets hairy here at Greenspoint Mall in Houston, Texas. I dox y'all. Yeah, I know where y'all are. So anyway, it's not the same. It's just not the same anymore.
It really isn't. You know what? Okay. You know what came on my TikTok feed the other day that is similar energy to that? And I think maybe we need to we need to reinvest our energy. Baddies auditions. I went through, I don't know how I ended up on Baddies like TikTok, right? I don't know what happened in there, but it just came up. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like Baddies? Forgot there were the shows, like the different Baddies East Coast, Baddies West Coast, Baddies South, and they make you wait in line to do the ticket to audition and for the open calls, and you get your ticket to potentially be cast. The ticket does not mean you are cast on the show, mind you, just that you are invited to audition for the show. And people are getting into fights over there over nothing. Like you could graze a shoulder and end up losing your wig or losing your eyelashes or actually some girl got her belly button ring ripped out because she didn't have earrings to like snap. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I have a cousin who is a baddies enthusiast, and
Yes.
she knows all the ins and outs. She's seen it all. She's seen all the baddies is, and
Yes.
she's telling me, put me on recap kickback. Let me talk about baddies. And so if it pleases the court, if the people in the comments wants to demand baddies
Yeah.
coverage, I have a person. I have a pro.
Yes.
He knows
If
the players.
I would watch a like investigative discoveries special of you two just like talking about the baddies audition process, because I
Yes.
was invested in this on TikTok as a mere observer, like seeing the culture that was going on in my phone with the baddies auditions and everything like that. Like I am invested now. Like this is
Mhm.
now a permanent fixture in my feed now. Like I want to know all the ins and outs of it. So
Yeah.
this what I'm like, this was true culture that is happening here. This is like our last basin of like true like wait in line culture, and potentially like lose some fingers, you know.
Well, they got baddies culture going on at the school board meeting because Sister Slauson gets slapped up at the board meeting.
I'm a little mad that we did not expand on this Sister Sloss get slapped
How did it happen
situation.
off camera? We should have at least got to see the clip.
I think everyone was a little too nice about it, you know?
Mhm.
Like especially like
Barbara
Barbara,
taking the
you
high
didn't chuckle
road.
at least once.
Like,
It's
stop it. You
just
know
us.
you were a little happy, okay? You can say it when no
It's
one's
just
looking,
us,
no one's
Barbara.
around.
I
So
love Barbara, but she really is like too good of a person sometimes, because like that couldn't be me. My worst
you
enemy gets slapped on camera. I'm doing like the little edit, like the slow-mo back and forth, like a little boomerang, like
Yeah, exactly. You gotta relive the
oh,
moment.
it
Mm.
was that would be my new Oscar slap. I would have loved that.
You
So,
know who's not a good person? Mr. Morton. Mr. Morton
yes,
sees this
yes,
as an opportunity to to enact some diabolical scheme to kidnap Melissa from her friend group and then bring her into his own to try to systematically tear apart the Janine, Barbara, Jacob kind of friendship that they have going on.
yes. You know what though? I really wish they had I wish they expanded on this a little. Like I wish this
Let it
was like
cook.
its own plot line throughout the season of like
Mm,
Morton's gang versus it's really Ava's gang, let's be real. Like
yes.
we have, because they finally started talking about it this season, especially with like the baseball episode, and like where they're talking about like, okay, anytime we have like select people going on a group excursion, it's always Ava and her friends, right? It happened with the baseball game, it happened with Barbara wanting to do the Halloween camping trip and stuff. It's always Ava and her friends. That is what
Mhm.
the group is called. So I kind of like the idea of there being like a counter group. I just don't think Morton is the person to lead that counter group. Like in the show it makes sense as like for
Yeah.
plotline reasons, because he really is the foil to these other Abbott Elementary characters, especially Jacob. But like, we just need like I could see like Daya running this group. I could see like Shanae, one of the cafeteria
Not
workers.
Shanae. Not Shanae, my
I miss
gosh.
Shanae so much. I miss
Yeah.
her. Please bring her
Yeah.
back, Abbott Elementary. I miss her every day. But yeah, like we just need like another we need another representative for that alternative group, because it can't just be the one core group. There's got to be other little factions in this school as well.
So Mr. Morton is trying to steal her away. He's helping her with some technology, and Jacob catches them together and just automatically jumps to the idea that that's what Mr. Morton is doing. So Jacob's onto him from jump. He tells Barb that they have to save Melissa from Mr. Morton and the Pac-Man machine because Melissa, she's in the mall. She's found her own
Yep.
stomping grounds and she's feeling it. And Mr. Morton knows that if he can maybe get her to trivia night, then he can start to really put a wedge between her and Ava's crew. But when Barbara catches on, she decides that they need to go spy on Mr. Morton at the trivia night. They pull up, and for a second, it does feel like Melissa and Morton are getting along okay. But he makes the crucial error of trying to badmouth her friends and even though it's Jacob and she allows Jacob to take a couple licks from Mr. Morton, she eventually stands up for all of them, causing Jacob and Barbara to reveal themselves as in their espionage mission.
This is how I know Melissa is a true ride or die, because listen, she'll allow Jacob to get a few lashings, right? It keeps him humble. It keeps him at his level. But the moment he insulted Barbara,
it's up.
It was, I'm not playing with you anymore. You know, like the other people, yeah, okay, you can make fun of Janine once in a while, right? Like Gregory, you can get some quips in every now and then, but Barbara, that's her girl.
Right.
Big mistake.
Not on my watch. Not
absolutely not. So she was ready. Said
I love Morton in this episode.
As soon as Barb came out of his switch, she's like, "You've gone too far."
I love Barb in this episode. I love Mr. Morton in this episode. His slow clap that he gives Jacob, like, you found me out. You know, my diabolical scheme.
This is just, they're so, I love this dynamic. I'm sorry. It's so funny that they've expanded on like the Morton lore of like the character. Just like, it's great. I love when we were talking earlier about like Black men in education, and like Morton is a Black man in education. I'm like, we're not focusing on him. This is about Gregory and Mr. Johnson.
Exactly. So they defeat Morton here, but they also defeat this giant Benjamin Franklin head. I've been to a lot of malls. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this. Why is there a Benjamin Franklin head lowering itself down and then talking to people?
I did see on, I believe it was Reddit. So I'm going to talk while I search up. But first thing I showed up was Traders US. I hate Colton. But
no.
If anybody's watching the Traders, just if you know, you know. But there was actually a mall in Philly that has a giant Benjamin Franklin head, which is like very similar to the one that they had in the show. Okay, yes, I found it. All right, ready? To the non-Philly people. So it was somebody explaining the Philly lore for us non-Philadelphians. So thank you. Yes, we had a Benjamin Franklin head at a local mall called Franklin Mills. It was called Philadelphia Mills for a little bit, but no one called it that. I think it's called Franklin Mall now. And if you know that mall, it will always be Franklin Mills, just like the gallery will always be the gallery and not the fashion district. It's a niche reference. I feel like I remember as a kid, it would scare the shit out of me. I'm glad she referenced that, though. It brought back a lot of memories.
And I have a picture of that Benjamin Franklin up here on our screen here. Crazy.
Yes.
So this article is from 8 years ago. So 15 years ago, the evil animatronic Ben Franklin head was removed from Franklin Mills Mall. So that's how long this mall that is abandoned has been abandoned, probably roughly around that time.
I found a picture of the Benjamin Franklin head from a video in 1996.
Oh my God.
It's even more terrifying than the updated one for the Franklin Mills Mall. Yeah. It's terrifying. Yeah. This will haunt my dreams later.
No, I'm so glad this is going. And I'm glad that they were able to overcome these obstacles in part 1 and part 2. But there is a part 3 of the mall saga. And so we have to figure out how the hell they're going to get out of there. What does it look like as they are starting to leave the mall? Because I can't believe that they're going to stay there until all the renovations are done. We don't even know how long they're going to take. So something's got to give in this next episode. And we will be back in 2 weeks to talk about episodes 11 and 12 and talk about how they get out of the mall. Gia, is there anything else from this episode that you want to discuss?
I think we covered most of it. I thought it was a great little change of pace from what we've been getting at Abbott. Like, this season has been really good. I feel like the show has really found its stride and really developed its main cast really well. But now I did not know what to expect fully from this episode, but this batch of episodes, but I'm not disappointed. I've really enjoyed this. And I think this next episode is the last of our mall era, I'll say, our mall arc of the show, but it's been fun.
Yes. So episode 11 is a mall part 3. So I think someone's going to come and save the day. And then episode 12 is Picture Day. So we will be back in 2 weeks to talk about those 2 episodes. But until then, Gia, what are you working on?
I am so glad you are asking. Besides looking at Batty's audition TikTok, which has taken a significant amount of my time as of yesterday. But you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Classically Gia for all of my reality TV shenanigans. Recap Kickback is my big project right now while we are in the Survivor off season. However, I am also on Substack now on called Bet on Black. That is the name of my Substack. I write about how Blackness is portrayed in reality TV, as well as some other pieces. I talked about some of my favorite wins and losses of the past year, be that being 2025 as well. So little highs and lows here. So I'll have some pieces coming out. I have some stuff planned as we start getting into Black History Month in particular. And Chappell and I are going to be working on some stuff as a little collaboration between Bet on Black and Recap Kickback. So I'm excited for having plenty in store coming soon.
Yes, and if you want to check out Gia's Substack, that link is always in our show notes. And so make sure you check the show notes and click on the Bet on Black link to subscribe and to help support Gia in that endeavor as well. As far as other content here on Recap Kickback, you probably already know this, but Puya and I are talking about Bel-Air. Every week we are dropping 2 episodes of Bel-Air, the final season. That means we have 2 episodes left, or 2 podcasts left to talk about the last 4 episodes of the series finale of Bel-Air. So check that out here. If you are a fan of that show, or if you're just a fan of me and Puya, then you can check out Mari and I talking about the current season of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the most recent spinoff in the Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire cinematic universe. So that's very fun. Those episodes are dropping every Sunday night / Monday morning after the episodes have aired. You can also see Chantel and I talking about the Flavor of Love cinematic universe. We are wrapping Flavor of Love season 2 and beginning to start our venture into the next installment that I won't say in case Chantel is listening, because she is unspoiled, but we will be getting into a little bit more Tiffany Pollard content starting next week. But this week we will have Matt Scott on to talk about our reunion special from Flavor of Love season 2 here live on YouTube every week. And then something else. I feel like I'm always missing something. The Wrestling Wrap Up is back. Mari and Matt are still covering wrestling every chance that they get on the road to WrestleMania. So our last Wrestling Wrap Up coverage was last week. If you like wrestling, check that out here on Recap Kickback. And then tune in to LaTanya and I. She will be back to join me to talk about It: Welcome to Derry. We're going to be covering that after Bel-Air is over. So much content here on Recap Kickback. I cannot thank you all enough for listening and supporting, because your support allows me to do more of this. And so keep subscribing, keep clicking like, keep sharing the podcast, and tune in next time. But until then, class is over, but we will be back next week to talk about more Abbott Elementary. Peace. I've been trapped behind Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.